So continuing on with the benefits of pregnenolone supplementation, um, as I was saying before, it low pregnenolone levels, it leads to imbalances in the downstream steroid hormones. It leads to impaired cognitive function. It messes up your mood. And so what it does, benefits of it are, increasing the production of something called GABA, which is your main inhibitory neurotransmitter. Why is that important? Because if you don't have enough GABA, if you don't synthesize enough of it, you're going to have problems with anxiety and impulsiveness. GABA is what helps us to calm our mind and to kind of shut it down when we don't need it to be in a state of fight or flight or, hyper vigilance. And one of the reasons you see so many people running around in this state is because, in fact, they don't produce enough GABA, or they're just burning through it so fast that they don't have enough in reserve when they need to apply the brakes. And you oftentimes see this when people go to bed. They find their mind racing and they can't fall asleep, or they go to sleep and they wake up shortly after. They just, they're constantly battling with getting their brain to disengage at nighttime, which should not be a problem. And so, again, if that's an issue, it could be a potential sign of, a pregnenolone deficiency. Pregnenolone has an enormous impact on memory. I can tell you that from my firsthand experience. It is absolutely essential for good memory, and when you don't have enough of it, your memory is going to suffer. It's actually low pregnenolone is tied into psychiatric disorders, and one of them being schizophrenia. If you have low pregnenolone, does that mean you're going to have schizophrenia? Of course not. There's certain genetic markers, certain gene mutations or polymorphisms that tend to preclude that, and then the low pregnenolone is either the trigger, or it exacerbates it, aggravates the problem, right? Like I said before, it boosts your mood. It actually calms down your amygdala, and that is the part of your brain that is always looking for threats in your environment. It's what drives fear. It controls fear, right? It's where fear derives from, in that part of the brain. So if the amygdala is overactive, you're going to likely have problems with, being afraid of things, or finding yourself like always being nervous and on edge, right? And pregnenolone helps to calm it. It actually reduces chronic pain. Pregnenolone has an enormous effect on pain regulation. It's a modulator of pain, and so oftentimes when we find this hormone low in our patients and we supplement them with it, their pain drastically improves. Once again, when I was talking about insomnia, it helps to prevent insomnia, largely probably because of the GABA relation, right? And then, there are some strategies to mitigate the diminishment of this hormone, but the reality is that as we age, we lose as much as 60% or more of the production of this hormone. There's a variety of factors behind this. I'm sure genetics plays a role. I think that damage from stressors, especially physical and emotional stress, but maybe even like chemical stress, plays a role in diminishment of this, right? As it does in all of our steroid hormones, all of our anti-aging hormones and peptides, right? So, what I recommend is, let's talk about the functional ranges of this, okay? So there's varying opinions on the functional range, and I personally, based on my clinical experience, am of the opinion that the functional range of this hormone is probably, I would say optimal functional range is probably between 125 to 175 nanograms per deciliter. But a person, you're considered normal if you're between 22 to 237 nanograms per deciliter. That's how wide this range is, right? Again, I think optimal is between 125 to 175. And so when I measure this in the blood, when I do a blood test, this is what I want to see, right? The minimum I want to see is within the normal range, okay? The clinical range. But again, in our clinic, we shoot for optimization. That's what we're about. We're about wellness. We're about health optimization. We want great health span. We want great lifespan, right? So I'm going to shoot between 125 and 175 to 175 nanograms per deciliter. The only way to find this out is to actually test the hormone, right? So what I recommend is that you can go to your doctor and you can ask him to do it. I don't know any place that's ever done it. I don't know that insurance will cover it, for one. I don't believe that it does. Maybe in certain extreme conditions, like adrenal hypoplasia or something like that, aplasia. But unfortunately, it's kind of, when it comes to getting it covered by insurance, it's kind of what came first, chicken or the egg. And what I mean by that is that you have to have a doctor diagnose you with something in order to justify the test. But how do you justify that? But you can't diagnose without having the test. So you're stuck in this weird catch-22, and nobody ever gets through it. Here we don't worry about that. We don't bill it to insurance. The cost of that test is about somewhere in the range of like $45 to $60. It's pretty affordable. So if this is something that you think that you might want to do, then reach out to us and we can arrange for you to go to the lab, get it tested, and then if we find it, we can help you develop strategies to address this. I hope you found this helpful. Comment in the video and let us know what you think. If you do find it helpful, or if the information, maybe there was something about it that just didn't resonate with you. But if there's something that does resonate with you, by all means, reach out to us and let us know. We want your feedback. We want input. Tell us if this video is helpful, if you like the way it was put together, or if you didn't. And again, we really hope that you got something from this, and we hope to hear from you if you feel like we could help you. All right. So take care, and we'll look for more of our content coming up.